Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Elianna, and I'm a graphic designer from Mumbai, currently based in Tel Aviv. And before I start, I want to say a huge thank you to Sue, who's been a huge influence on me and encouraged me and guided me. And thank you for this amazing platform, everyone, all the organizers, and thank you to all the speakers for contributing and sharing their thoughts. Um, okay. So everyone's constantly facing a screen all the time. And when we are not facing a screen, we are taking one with us to the beach, or we're texting on the train, or taking a break from the screen, but still taking one with us. We go camping and in the bathroom. So with this increase in screen usage, I would say there's an increase in computer mediated communication, which means that there's an increase in the use of emojis. And emojis were introduced to strengthen communication. But I'd like to point out that never before have people had so much accessibility to symbols before. Like us as designers, we get to say, and what emoji, what symbols can be used for things, but never before have the general population been able to engage in such a way. And so much so that there are over 3,600 emojis being used right now. So here's a video of my keyboard. And as you can see, there are emojis integrated onto the touchpad. Um, and here's a special keyboard designed with emojis integrated onto them. And here's an example of a beautiful font called Noto Emoji. So, and here is an image of my coworker who is deciding which emoji to send to our client. So as you can see, it's not just our professional life, not just our personal life, but also our professional life where emojis have seeped in. This is something called Emoji Tracker for Twitter, and it shows you the live emoji usage of, the which emojis are currently being used. And the statistics are really insane, as you can see. And if you're wondering which is the most popular emoji on Twitter, it's the face with tears of joy, which was also chosen as the word of the year by Oxford Dictionaries, which is insane because it's not a word. Uh, and to develop further on Twitter's research, here's a chart of the emojis, the most popular emojis based on geographical locations. So it's not just that these emojis are accessible to us, but they're universal. So they're used across borders, understood by everyone. They are being frequently used. And the overall rate at which the population is using these emojis, they all play a role. So with our intense emoji usage, there are bound to be some advancements in the way that we communicate online, right? So I'm trying to delve into that today in my talk. And before I do, I just wanted to share a little bit about me and the reason why I got interested. I worked on this project called Metaphorically Speaking for my master's project, which was dealing with metaphors that people could use to talk about their feelings. And I'm interested in the ambiguous use of symbols. Um, so I read this thesis project by Kathy Gale, and as she says, in disciplines such as literature and fine art, um, one second, oops, okay, sorry, I'm just having, oh, okay. Um, Basically, in her quote, she says that the possibilities of ambiguity remain underexplored in graphic design. And this really crystallized things for me because I realized that emojis really it's like the one area where ambiguity can be embraced and studied. So my talk today is about embracing ambiguity. So I'm going to start with myself and how I use emojis. So this is me, this is my profile on Instagram. And as you can see, I've used emojis for little highlights where for my stories. And if it's not Instagram, then maybe it's the way that I use my gratitude journal, where I use emojis with my text, or the silly photo filters that I have, or the way that I tweet. So this is my usage on social media. Or it could be the way that I communicate with my family and friends. This is me and my dad arguing about what an emoji means to us. Or he could send me 3 dancing emojis to show excitement, and my friend sends me 8 to show excitement. And just the funny, silly ways in which my friends communicate with me. Or if you're at a really fun conference and you want to react to something that someone says, you have this little bar down there and you can choose an emoji to react. And also the fun ways in which the participants use emojis to communicate. Um, Going back to platforms, um, there are ways in which I can react to images. So if I want to respond to an image, I can quickly react with an emoji. Or if I'm reading an article, by the end of it, I can, again, I'm facing emojis again, because it's communicating some sort of information, or it's being used to create a poll, or other social media that is like Facebook and LinkedIn that's using emojis to show reactions or help you react to something. And speaking of LinkedIn, LinkedIn's launching the funny emoji into their platform, and this is really this is kind of you say they're really thinking about how this could impact their platform, because it's a professional platform, so they have to think about, if the funny emoji is appropriate for their brand. And this is my Notion page, and Notion is an application that helps you organize all your thoughts and plans. So it's for project management. And as you can see from the toolbar on the side, I've used emojis for my pages to separate them and just help me navigate. Or if I'm accessing some online material, uh, Growth Design does these informative pieces, and they've integrated emojis to explain big concepts in design here. And if I want to go ahead and embarrass myself, here's Bumble, my dating profile. So Bumble lets you pick 5 interests, and they have these different values and traits and causes, and what's important to you, food and beverage. And they're using emojis like icons in this case here. So here is my profile and the 5 interests that are important to me with emojis. And here's an example of a potential date asking me out in emojis: boy, girl, burger, pizza, sushi, ice cream, wine, cheers, and let's be together. And this is an actual request that I got, so it was perfect material for my talk. But it's really funny to see such things, and it's very interesting. So I spoke about a person and how a person uses emoji. So I'm going to go ahead and speak about one single emoji, and that's the heart emoji. I'm glad that Daniel spoke a little bit about this, so now I get to build on top of this a little bit more. Um, so the heart emoji is used to express love and affection. And then some people send 3, and some people send 6 or 7, and some people send the big one opposed to the small one. And then there are all these confusing colors. There are so many colors, and nobody knows what they mean, especially the white one, which just looks cold and detached. Um, and then it's the way this specific emoji is integrated into platforms. Like, on Instagram, I can click the heart button to like something, or more filters, and they're more decorative. And if you type sad on Instagram, it'll suggest the blue heart emoji to you. So even the recommendations that these platforms have are interesting to see. And on Twitter, the blue heart stands for something completely different. It's no longer an emoji or a color, but an entire theme. And going back to Bumble, the red hat stands for being family oriented, the blue for empathy, the yellow for feminism, and black for Black Lives Matter. So you can see the platforms are, using these emojis to to indicate something. Going back to the people and how they use emojis, here is an example of a social media influencer who deals with mental health, and he does these mental health check-ins. And he's using the heart emoji to, engage with his audience. So, he's telling you what the heart stand for. Like the green is I'm starting to struggle, the red is I'm doing great. And it's very interesting to see how people engage on this platform and how the comment section, they're it's very different from how they would usually use these emojis. So my question is, creative expression versus function here, because we're sort of getting a lot of sorry, even though these emojis were created to express your emotions, they're sort of going into function now. A lot of the emojis are used to show some sort of step that you could take, or to do some sort of engagement on platforms. And I'm seeing that there's an overlap between the creative expression and function. The creative expression is influencing the function. And allowing and embracing ambiguity allows playfulness. So as you can see from these examples, we're taking the emojis and putting them into different categories from what they were originally in. So based on color, based on specific themes. So they are really pulled out of what they would usually be in. And this is because we're being playful. Here's another example. This is the pointing emoji, but if it's combined with another pointing emoji, it means that you're shy. So these emojis are working as little building blocks here. And on a side note, the browser Opera now lets you ditch boring web links and use emojis instead. So you can use domain names with just simple emojis, which is really interesting. And the company that they're working with, called Yat, is even talking about people who can have the emojis for their identity. Like if you were skater boy something 232, you could have just the skater and boy emoji, and that would be your online identity, and you could make online payments, and there are all sorts that could be involved with something like that. And coming to more playfulness, here is the creations by Emoji Kitchen, where they're fusing two different emojis together. And the experiments are extremely fun and just really beautiful, I would say. And as you can see from this specific page, they're all thumbs up, but because they're fused with different emojis, they don't mean exactly the same anymore. So it's a very interesting test here. Or more examples of, like the scenery combined with the specific emoji. The bread city, a reference to King Kong, like I feel like each one of them is a piece of art on its own. And this is what the Emoji Kitchen platform currently looks like. The top section has all these different emojis, and then if you click on one specific one, it's giving you all these suggestions of the other of the combinations you could create. And yeah, it's very cool. And back to the heart emoji, because we definitely need more hearts. So I spoke about one specific person using an emoji and one specific emoji. So I'm going to speak about one platform, and that's Grammarly. So everyone knows Grammarly, I'm guessing. We use it because we all have email anxiety. What do I sound like? I don't know if the tone is right. A lot of college students use it. People use it in their professional lives. And a great feature that Grammarly offers is the tone detection, where it provides a small panel, and it tells you in emojis what your tone is. So these are some of the emojis associated with the tones. And I find it really interesting that if you put in a huge chunk of text, Grammarly just converts it into a couple of emojis and tells you, what it is or what you sound like. Uh, and it does other fun stuff, like it has a blog and it tells you how to improve communication, and has a lot of pieces on how to use emoji in, for example, in business communication here. What sort of emojis are appropriate when you're communicating with your colleagues. And as a fun experiment, I've taken some poems and put them in Grammarly. So, a funny young fellow named Perkins was terribly fond of small gherkins. One day after tea, he ate 93 and pickled his internal workings. So, Grammarly is worried and nervous. And another one, do you care at all for me? My heart beats for you. With your turnip nose and your radish face, you are a peach. If we cantaloupe, let us marry, we'd make a swell pair. Grammarly is nervous but informed. So, as you can see, that an emoji, a specific platform, a person, they all are influenced by each other. Like make no more innovations in emojis. It influences the platform. They're all linked to each other. And what I really want to emphasize during this talk, and what I want is, like, as a person, me as a person, if I put in a very sad poem in Grammarly and it reacts with a melting cake, it would make my day. Um, and um, okay, 1 second. Oops. Okay, that was not how I wanted to end. Um, yeah, the everyday world is inherently ambiguous, and most things in it have multiple possible meanings. But in a social symbiosis, meaning can also be continually enriched by reconfiguring old signs and new operations. Transformative play with meaning transcends verbal and visual communication, enabling many parallels to be identified between the two. Thank you.